Hi Aquarius, welcome to Ethernal Realms, and we will get into your May Scorpio eclipse reading over here. We had a solar eclipse already in the sign of Aries, and that took place on the 19th or the 20th of April, depending on where you stay. And that is more about the external situations that are changing and shifting, new beginnings and endings as well, taking place in that part of your chart. For you, that would be in the sign, as we mentioned, in Aries, but that falls in your third house of communication, short distance travel, siblings as well. I talk more about that in the zodiac specific reading for the solar eclipse. In this one, we talk about the Scorpio energy. It's a lunar eclipse, so we have the moon in Scorpio and the sun is in Taurus, along with Uranus. Jupiter will enter later on, but we also have the North Node and the Mercury is retrograde at this time. Even right after the solar eclipse, Mercury turned retrograde, and the time of this eclipse, it is already in the middle of retrogradation. So we have a lot of unfinished things, we have a lot of changes that are going on internally, and we have not yet developed what exactly it would look like on the outside world. Okay, so there's things bubbling up underneath the surface, ideas forming, clarity coming through, and so on, which is still yet to be developed. Beyond the 15th of May, you will start to see more tangible and external manifestations of these eclipses as Mercury turns direct and Jupiter also moves into the sign of Taurus. It brings in more changes and blessings and some expansion as well. So it's an interesting time, and lunar eclipses basically are triggers that we have internally, some emotional changes and so on, which then have an immediate external effect. For example, you might feel as though something in your life just does not feel right. It doesn't fit well with the person that you are or the person that you're trying to be. So that is the trigger, and then you start making changes in your external environment that then creates the reality that you want to be experiencing. So for you guys, we have the Judgment coming up first, starting strong. All right, this is a very strong card of liberation and awakening as well. We have the Four of Swords indicating rest and peace. Very nice. And we have the Sun card coming through. That's wonderful. Very wonderful. Okay, and we have the Seven of Swords coming through. This has been coming up for quite some zodiacs actually, and it indicates the hidden influences that we've not observed yet, or we're trying to hide away from or ignoring, that either gets resolved, comes up to the surface, or we find better ways to cope with such situations. And we have the Death card as well, so you have 3 out of 5 major arcana, very strong influences for you. We have Pluto in your zodiac, so of course Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. Okay, so your 10th house, your first house, this is at a square aspect. You can feel some sort of stresses in this area requiring you to change yourself, requiring you to change your roles in society or ambitions in life. There can be some personality shifts or attitude changes that you're going through as well, in a very clever manner to make your dreams a reality, to create this positive transformation here. Death rules the transformative process. Okay, we don't quite know what is on the other side, but we know that our joy is there. We know that what we are seeking is on the other side of that unknown territory, and I absolutely love this storyline that's forming here. The Judgment is basically is pointing towards this direction, being that the first card, towards this. Find peace within, follow your joy, follow your heart, and figure it out. The Seven of Swords is like, figure it out. If you have to do some creative problem solving, go right ahead and do that. If you need to piece things together to just make something work for now, go ahead and do that. If you need to hide some information from people who are not very supportive, who try to dim your light, who discourage you, demotivate you, or steal your ideas, then go right ahead and hide those things, okay? Because the transformation is being made, whether or not you're rolling with it, the transformation is happening. And given that we've been having Taurus Scorpio axis activation with eclipses since 2022, And now that we don't have Saturn inhibiting any of these changes that are wanting to happen, this is inevitable. You know the storyline that has been developing within your career and your home life. There can be changes in the home sphere, or you are the one who's changing your family life, your home life in some way that brings you a greater sense of peace and stability. Four of Swords can indicate that you're having some heart-to-heart, some conversations you might have with your home or your family environment that clears things up. Perhaps there were some misunderstandings and they can be getting cleared through this eclipse, also with the Mercury retro. And that brings you a lot of joy and happiness, brings you clarity in life as well. I'm hearing May 1st is going to be an important time for you. We have the Sun joining with Mercury at that time, and Mercury is retro. That indicates the halfway point of the retro cycle, which brings us out of that foggy state. You know, it's sort of like REM sleep, and now we have these signs and synchronicities that come in, and we're better adjusted to the intuitive cycle within ourselves. Okay, so you're observing, getting to know these deeper and different aspects to yourself, which perhaps you were ignoring before, or you just didn't get the chance to experience those things. But while you sleep, while you rest and meditate and give yourself that space and freedom, you can find greater depths to you, which are astounding, even in your perspective. Okay, now the Judgment indicates that there is a soul calling that appears here during this time. There is a strong pull towards something, and eclipses, you know, they bring about changes in the 4 to 6 months that follow, and they're very fateful in nature. There are urgent decision making even, and quick moving processes that happen as a result of eclipses, or rather coincide with the eclipses. You know, who knows what's the cause and effect, but they somehow go hand in hand, they work in tandem here. So it feels as though the insights that come in, the feelings that urge you to move in a certain direction, end a specific story or a cycle, and move into a new chapter for you, is just illuminating your life in this time. You know which way to go, and there still might be some self-sabotaging instincts or some fears around, you know, whether something would work or not. Of course, that's a natural part of the transition. It's okay, be patient with yourself, be patient with the situation. Like I said, after the halfway point of May, things start to become clear, and even more clear after the end of May. Okay, and in June, we're not doing the June reading here, but I'm guessing that in June you will be able to implement more things, and you'll have a better idea of where you are headed. So this darkness that comes with the death, with the transformative or transitionary process, it won't be as murky. Okay. Yes, so truth will be revealed, but you already know it intuitively, and the best way to cope with Mercury retro is to revise, research, look inward, and trust that intuition. Okay, it's king at this time. Mercury retro means that the logic is sleeping. It's like the dream world. You know, when your mind is asleep, your imagination is free, your intuition is free. You have creative problem solving and thinking, and also you have all these like abstract and absurd type of imagery that comes up. That's different for everybody, of course, what type of imagination it is, but regardless, it doesn't have to make sense for it to be a part of your life. So we're experiencing that side of the mind when Mercury goes retro. Very important inclusion in the eclipse cycle here, okay? But whatever comes up beyond this point, it is liberating, it is very peaceful for you. And yes, it does require major change. Pluto does not joke around, but the good thing is, you know, it's here for like 20 years, so we're not going to experience very drastic shifts and changes immediately, but you get a taste of what needs to go. Okay, and we're going to work on uprooting old patterns from the ground up and figuring out different coping mechanisms and communication skills, even within ourselves. The fourth house talks about our inner self, the things that are very private to us, right? The things we don't share with anyone, and the family or the people who live with us just get to know, right? So this part although it is private to the outside world, is very pivotal. It sits at the very base of your chart, and from there on we have like you, your other people, the world in general, and everything else around it. So if your core is not at peace, you will be less able to feel the peace in the external situations surrounding that fourth house, right? That's why it's very important. Okay, so you're already feeling this. Let's see what else we have. We have the nuthatch, stay grounded and welcome the new knowledge and perspective coming to you. Absolutely. With the sun and the judgment, this is the soul awakening or calling that happens here is absolutely different perspective. And like I said, the different modes of the mind that we have is becoming awakened here. So you see the world in a different light. And while Mercury does not rule you, it is the planet of the mind, and you are the zodiac of the higher mind, the collective consciousness, and just the information in general that we have in the world. So it is interlinked. It is still connected, right? Okay, then we have Robin, which says new growth and potential is on the horizon. Absolutely. Reach out and embrace it. Yes, then we have Parrot, which says let go of others' thoughts and opinions. It is time to embrace who you really are. The sun represents Leo. We have Leo and Scorpio coming through, okay? No, Leo represents other people. So the Parrot is indicating don't listen to other people if they're demotivating or discouraging and things like that. If they're not, honestly, you know what is right for you. You know what is truthful and authentic to you, right? Don't let anyone dim that light. That's the purpose. Kind of, right? Of course, that's again going to be fine-tuned according to your individual journey, but this indicates showing your full glory out and loud. Some people could be coming across some partners as well that bring you a lot of peace, that help you recognize your skills and abilities as well. But once again, they might see you having a lot of potential and all of that. But if you don't feel ready, if you're not in that space to go and explore all of these potential, then you don't need to feel pressured by the other person. You do you go when you are ready, but make sure that when you do feel ready, don't hesitate, don't pull yourself back. Okay, so there is this motivation that surrounds you through other people and through information that you find as well. Some motivational speakers perhaps can be quite inspiring for you. But the point is, do things of your own accord because you want to make something happen, and then reach out to people, look for people if they are relevant to your personal journey. Yes, okay. Then we have the grouse, which says embrace the power of dance and movement to access your highest guidance. By the way, the solar eclipse that we're talking about that happened in April, that one and this eclipse, they work in tandem, okay? That this together, they are an eclipse cycle. So if you've not checked that out already, I would really urge you to do so. It gives you a lot more context of what's happening in the outside world and what's happening in the inside world, and together how they work for you. Okay, why I mention that is because we saw the grouse here, and dance, movement is related with the third house because it's one of communication and expression. Okay, it's about traveling, jogging, running, the environment. What do you put around you? Who do you surround yourself with? What pictures do you have hanging on the wall? Are they outdated? Are those some things that are just not related to you anymore? When we talk about South Node and Scorpio, it's automatically about releasing things, okay? Scorpio is about purging, South Node is about purging, Pluto is about purging. So we have a lot of that going on, and that indicates letting go of everything that is inauthentic to you or is dependent on other people's validation or criticism or whatever the case is, because things need to start shifting now from this point on towards something that is deeply, deeply authentic to you, that brings you a sense of joy and fulfillment from the deep down. Okay, so if that means dancing, go right ahead. If that means designing, go right ahead. If that means something else for you, go right ahead. Okay, it's not to please other people, it's not for other people necessarily. Perhaps it is as a service, but you're not doing this as a favor. The sun is, and also Leo is about putting yourself in the center and asking yourself, what do you need? Okay, do you need some rest right now? Do you need to think things through a little bit? Do you need to just experience joy and creativity? And I'm not saying do what is comfortable. That's a very different topic, okay? That's a very different way of operation. That's quite Taurian. Yes, that's there. But when we talk about doing what is best for you with the Judgment and the Sun and even the Death, is doing things that are uncomfortable, but you know will bring you great fulfillment and joy. Okay, it's not temporary bliss. It's not something that you're used to. It's not about habits. It's about moving out of your space, moving away from what you're used to, but towards something that you know you're going to adore. Okay, like you imagine that dancing might feel liberating, but you've never tried it. Okay, you might be like, oh, I'm too stiff, or no, I'm not a dancer, no, I don't have the skill, I can't follow steps. So there might be many reasons to not do something, but you make these excuses because you feel like there might be some reason where you would want, you're kind of fishing for reasons where, you know, it motivates you to go and try that thing anyway. Otherwise, we don't sit and continue having that conversation. We don't continue having that discussion in our minds or with other people. We're looking for reasons to make something happen that we know would be nice for us, but we are uncomfortable to go for those things. So this eclipse here, this is characterizing that sort of discomfort where we have to break out of our comfort zone. Okay, we just have to in order to experience the greatest blessings ever. When we have the Sun, it's quite clear that there are blessings and optimism on the way. And with Robin as well, new growth and potential is on the horizon. Reach out and embrace it. And whenever we have something new, it is scary, it is unsure, it is, you know, who knows, it could work, could not work. But so is, you know, a baby, you know, it could turn out to be a great person, it could turn out to be someone not so great. That same applies for like seeds. Some sprout, some don't. That applies to like everything that we create, right? Some things work, some things don't, but it's okay. You learn from each thing, you experience each thing, and you grow from each of those things as well. Nothing goes to waste anyway. So reach out and embrace those things. You'll learn so much from it through other people as well. And be dynamic as much as you can. I know you're a fixed sign, so dynamism is not really in the nature of you or Scorpio, Taurus, or Leo. Okay, but you know, that's the point. We come with certain skills, but then we learn from one another, and that kind of expands our own experience as well. So the grouse is encouraging you to see different ways, because there might be better ways of conducting your life, your career, and your family life, your sense of peace and stability in the world as well. The Sun indicates prominence too. So new growth can indicate that you have a new leadership position or a new creative venture that you're trying out. And that brings you a lot of peace, but it also makes you a little bit nervous because you have more responsibility. But don't shy away from it. Go for it anyway. Learn on the go. You're very intelligent. Okay, that's like no doubt. You and Geminis, that like Virgos, and everyone's intelligent in their own way, but we're talking about in a more logical, analytical type of way, where you can observe big pieces of information, zoom out and observe all these different interconnections. That's a separate skill, right? You have that already in you, so you can take advantage of the opportunities and people and situations that are presented to you at this time. The Death is sticking out to me. It's like there's one thing that stops you from entering that door into your bliss, okay? And I'm hearing Chiron for some people, okay? Maybe observe where Chiron is in your chart. That's the point, which is the last fear before we experience our greatest bliss. Okay, we do the work, we do everything, and then in the end we're like, oh, but what will people think? So I'm not gonna publish it. Or, you know, what will my partner say? So I'm not gonna tell them. You know, what will my family say? So I'm not going to explore that career. It's that very last point where we hold ourselves back despite all of the fuel we've put in already. So Chiron is an important point. Maybe observe what that is. But I'm hearing that is somehow interlinked for some people here. But either way, this eclipse is then helping you recognize what that is if you don't know. And if you already know, it's about transforming and healing that situation so that you can go through a rebirth and regeneration phase. The sun indicates generation, right? Life energy. So this eclipse, along with that solar eclipse, is fueling you with a lot of energy and ideas as well. All right. We have the siren up, so appropriate. This is so appropriate. Oh my goodness. And we have the animal. Wow. Okay, this is reminding me of strength. That instinct. Follow that instinct. If you feel like, okay. Let me start again. There will be a calling. It will be instinctual and intuitive. Okay. It's going to be very clear, that instinct. It's not something that you're going to have to research on and meditate specifically to get the instinct. It's happening. It's an urge, an inner urge. Don't overthink it, okay? Don't overthink it. Don't steal that idea away from yourself. Don't try to diminish its light. It's out of pure joy, pure creation. Something pure coming through here, okay? The animalistic instinct as well. It's like primal, it's pure, it's just there, it's raw, right? And the siren is like, dive deeper into that. It's calling you, you know, it's inspiring you. It's giving you all these ideas. Even as you sleep, you come up with these ideas. If you're a designer, for example, you see these different ways of processing information, showcasing information, different combinations you could try, different effects that you could bring to life. If you're a journalist, then this is different ways that you can acquire information and present it in a more, you know, effective, in a punchy sense. Keep it raw, keep it real, you know, these types of things. It just comes to you from your mind, even as you rest. Run with those things or note it down, you know, note it down, write it down, process it later, whatever the case is, but go with it. Don't try to stop that instinct. That's like so loud and clear. Now, I was remembering this strength, right? Even that is a Leo card. So it's likely that there might be some changes in your relationship as a result of the changes you are going through. Even if you're not in a relationship, this is the type of people you attract or are attracted to. And also the dynamics that you want to have in your relationship. Okay, is it going to be let's have fun and enjoy our time together, or is it different now? Is it about soul purposes? Is it about having combined belief system? Is it you know, joining forces in a different sort of manner? That is going through a bit of a change. So again, give it time. It is going to show up even more clearly as time goes on. Mostly in June, I think everything is going to be full speed forward, and then we have Venus going retrograde later on, so that's going to be a different flavor of things. But yes, the red and the pink is like so loud and clear, sticking out, is relating with this death card here. So I'm feeling as though the red, by the way, relates with the root chakra, which is at the very base of our spine. It connects us to the earth. And again, we come back to that rawness. Delving deeper. There can be some psychological things as well that you're working on. Someone else, if you go for therapy, for example, this can be a very fruitful time for you. Perhaps you try hypnosis. Four of Swords is like sleeping, right? But you're gaining clarity through that sleep. So some of you could be going for hypnosis sessions, or even trying to do that at home if you don't have a therapist. Yeah, and that proves to be extremely regenerative. There could be some older thoughts and feelings that just purge. You know, you might find yourself suddenly start crying and just letting it all out. But after you do that, you feel so liberated. You feel like 1,000,000 times lighter, and you just feel as though this is a completely brand new, clean slate. You're ready to take on the world, things like that. There's just a buoyancy that's coming through here after letting go of things. Wow. So yes, embrace the power of this movement, trying out different things, because there's a lot of new things coming through. Stay humble, stay grounded, be patient with things as they unfold. They will bring you a lot of information. All right. So that's what I have for you, Aquarius. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope the reading resonated and that it helps you out. Make sure to check your solar eclipse reading. It'll give you more context. And if you want a personal reading, you can reach me via Etsy. The link is in the description box and the comment below. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye.